Hello everyone, and welcome to La Cité's groundbreaking. Today's historic groundbreaking is brought to you by two companies, La Cité Development and BRP Development Company, along with a host of dedicated players that have shared in our journey and have believed in our vision Center West. Here today to speak about the project would be the President, Dan Bythewood Jr., to discuss this project.
It's tight here too, man.
Thank you. Thank you. It's amazing to see how many people showed up for this groundbreaking. We're really excited for everything that we dedicated from our hearts to our minds to this. So good morning, and thank you for attending La Cité and BRP's Center West groundbreaking ceremony. I especially want to recognize your collective support for this development, which is already having a historic impact on the socio and cultural fabric of West Baltimore. First, I'd like to take a moment to thank God for giving me the strength and the wisdom to work tirelessly over the past decade to see this project through to a successful closing. As you can all imagine, everyone actually worked tirelessly on this, and we're extremely proud of this moment in time, and this is just the beginning. I'd also like to thank my parents, my siblings, my partners, all for having the faith and believing in the vision of Center West, and for supporting that vision both financially and otherwise. First and foremost, I'd like to personally thank Mayor Pugh, Council President Young, Comptroller Pratt's office, Councilman Bullock, Commissioner Braverman, and all the elected officials that have supported this project and have been committed to this project and helping La Cité transform the neighborhood of Poppleton. I'd also like to thank and extend it to Congressman Elijah Cummings, who has given us enormous encouragement to continue the fight and always supported us in this journey. We'd also like to thank HUD and KeyBank for also seeing the vision and sharing in the belief that La Cité had in financing a project on west side of Baltimore. And of course, thank you to the amazing people of Poppleton. People like Skip and Yvonne Gunn, Lorraine Ledbetter, Ernestine Fair, who've opened up their hearts, their minds, their homes, their souls, and their neighbors and friends to us, the outsiders who were coming in. We appreciate and recognize you all today, and thank you for believing in La Cité and my team. To all of you, your faith in our shared vision brought us from the initial presentation over 10 years ago to this proud moment today. Because of that faith, La Cité's dedication and commitment to the Poppleton community has never wavered. People often ask me, why didn't you find an easier project or cut your losses a long time ago? My answer's always been, there are no losses until you give up. As I reflect on this thought, JFK once stated when he had his speech talking about why should we go to the moon, but why? Say some go to the moon. Why choose this as our goal? Why choose go to the moon? Why choose go to the moon this decade and do other things? Not because they're easy, but because they're hard. Because the goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because the challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one that we are unwilling to postpone, and one that we intend to win. Park Square is a win for Poppleton and for the city of Baltimore. This is how we feel about our work here, and we've taken the impossible and made it a reality. This is to show future generations that your beliefs and your visions are effective tools for our children's growth and development. La Cité made a commitment to a neighborhood that had been ignored for decades, a neighborhood that saw firsthand decades of disinvestment. For us, this was never about bricks and mortar. This was about a community where people lived, where they cultivated relationships, grew deep roots, vibrant memories. This was about proving a belief that redevelopment will improve and make lives better in communities versus displacing them. This is a vision and a promise that La Cité made, and we owed it to all of these amazing residents in this community to fulfill the best thinking, the passion, expertise, and determination to make this a reality. If you only knew the stories from so many of these residents, like Skip and Yvonne. Yvonne's family lived in Poppleton for generations. In fact, over 100 years. So if you knew half of her stories, I believe all of you would have fought the same fight that we have fought. Every obstacle, every challenge. A strong woman once told me, if you never challenge yourself, you'll never know how successful you can actually be. Thanks, Mom. I really took that challenge to the core, and that's how I work every single day. I hope I made you proud. Gathered here today, I can't think, but we're standing collectively on the threshold of a bright future, witnessing the beginning of a metamorphosis of housing in West Baltimore, a transformation that starts with 2 buildings now in construction behind us. These 2 buildings will yield 262 units of housing, approximately 18,000 square feet of commercial, a dog park, a pocket park, just at the doorsteps of Edgar Allan Poe's house. And these are just our first 2 buildings. The new residents will have a plethora of amenities within these first 2 buildings: fire pits, swimming pools, dog parks, roof decks, and dog washing stations for the fastidious and well-groomed dog who was fresh from their morning run. Construction will be Energy Star rated with our current modeling of 93. This added expense that we incurred in our construction costs will ensure that the tenants will save money on their electric and energy bills. We expect that the $81.5 million investment that La Cité has made in Poppleton will be a catalyst to serve for numerous housing and commercial developments in this neighborhood that we're branding Center West. There's so much more coming, and I invite all of you to be on the lookout for the continued development and revitalization of this area. And there's so many more things that will help transform West Baltimore. I'd like to thank HUD, the City of Baltimore, CHAP, Councilman and Councilwoman Welch, Steve Kraus, Stiefel, KeyBank, Lembit, Peggy, Department of Finance, Jay Davis, BRP, Gensler, Kinsley, Jay Davis, and all the La Cité partners. I don't want to sound like I'm on an Oscar speech today. But thank you. And without further ado, as I turn the podium over to the amazing and esteemed Mayor of Baltimore, Catherine Pugh.
I wanted to first ask the Blythewood family if you all would just stand. Come on, Dad, stand up. Let's give the family a round of applause. And let me just say why. You know, when you have dreams, dreams don't come true without support systems, and you all have just been a wonderful, wonderful support system, including the partners, everybody who's had anything to do with this. You know, it's one thing to dream, it's another thing to set goals, but it's a whole nother thing to achieve them. And so I thank you for being that support system and being behind what we consider a great dream for Baltimore. So you all can have a seat. And I looked over at Skip and his wife. I said, thank you all. Because one of the things that we have a tendency to forget in our city is that we have people living inside these neighborhoods that have invested for decades. And I ride by your house, you know, they got the modern garage and all of the investment that they've made just in their particular area of this area. And they've not moved. They've been here. And there are a number of people who are standing around who've been here for quite some time and looking forward to seeing the city take the opportunity to invest in a neighborhood and a community that is more than deserving. So thank you all for staying. Thank you for continuing to be residents of Baltimore. And thank you for believing in the hope and the promise that things can change in our city, and we know that they can. This is a perfect example of that. I want to thank Dan Blythewood Jr., our president, and the development partner, BRP Development Corporation, and Flaherty and Collins Development, for their not just their vision, but their commitment to this project. Because I was envisioning him 10 years ago. I said, God, he must have been a baby. But, you know, to hold on to a dream like this, and then to have other people be a part of it. I know Carol Gilbert, is she here? Carol Gilbert, Assistant Secretary for Division of Neighborhood Revitalization, the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. And of course, our council president, Jack Young, who is a true believer in how we can change communities and has been a partner for the city for so long. Thank you, Jack. Our comptroller is not here, but I'm sure somebody from her office is represented, because projects like this don't move forward without their assistance as well. I want to thank our former councilman and I call her our council mother, Welch's for being here. They've been in the trenches for decades. But I also want to give a real big shout out to John T. Bullock, who is the 9th District City Councilman now, who also believes in the future of this city, who works tirelessly on behalf of the citizens of this district, and also to all of my agency heads. I see Tom Sulzer, who's here, Department of Planning, Housing, Finance, City Law. I was thinking about all of the organizations in the city that you had to deal with to get to where you are today. I passed Rudy Child as I was leaving the building, the Department of Public Works, our Law Department, our Transportation Department, Rex and Park. So I mean, you can't do projects like this. And one of the things I've said to my team, and my team's introduction to me was to be able to take a bus ride with me as the mayor so that they could see what I see the promise of tomorrow, see the vision for what I believe the city can be. And so they've been able to do that. And it's areas like this that we know that if we put the investment in place, that things can change. What's so unique about this project is that 80% of it will be affordable housing. And we talk about this all the time. I've heard this. It was interesting. I heard a campaign promise that a group talked about that I had made when I was campaigning. You know, what I said, and I'll be real clear, is that we set goals. And my goal, as it relates to the school system, is for us to get to 35%. We're not there yet. You know, I tell people too, my other goal is to lose 25 pounds, and I haven't gotten there yet. But, you know, we're committed to Baltimore. We're committed to our school system. We're committed to our education system, and we intend at some point to get there over the next 4 years. And also, it would not be possible without the recognition. I don't know if Jane is here from the University of Maryland's Biopark, which is where I think we first had a real conversation about this particular project. And the Poe Homes Tenant Council. I see my folks out there who, again, I get to go through there from time to time, and every time I'm there, they're asking me about, are you going to fix this? Can you fix this? Can you stop in for this? And I do my best to be there every time they call me. And Southwest Partnership, Poppleton Co-op. And the reason I mention that is because I tell folks, here's the one thing you will never see me do. You know, I tell people I work 7 days a week. And if I could work 24 hours and just get maybe a few hours sleep, I'll do that too. The one thing that you will never be able to accuse me of is not showing up. Because it's important to show up. Show up on behalf of our children. Show up on behalf of our citizens. Show up on behalf of our community in general. You know, you may not have all the answers, but when we come together, we can solve the problems that face this city. So you can always count on me to do that. You know, what this particular project helps us to do is to eliminate blight. You know, I rode by this area for, as many of you have seen, probably for years, wondering what can take place. Can we change this community? Can we add to it? Can we create opportunities for individuals to not only want to live here, but to be a part of our city? Baltimore Housing initiated a large-scale redevelopment effort in Poppleton neighborhood to address the high concentration of abandoned buildings and vacant lots. I mean, I was sitting there earlier today talking to a group up in Waverly, and they were telling me how long it took for them to eliminate the board-up houses in their communities. And I tell folks that, you know, in coming up with solutions and working with smart people, you're always trying to rethink what has been done. Because what every mayor who serves a city hopes will happen for the next mayor is that you come up with an even greater plan than the plan that they put in place, and that you build on their successes. And that's our intention here. As a result, we've seen an increase in property taxes. And I was telling my public relations communications director, we don't want to talk about property taxes because everybody wants theirs reduced. BlackRock, T. Rowe Price, Oppenheimer, y'all purchased the TIF bonds for this project, and partners at Key Bank. I think we've thanked so many people because this project doesn't happen by itself. Now, this is a real vision. It's a real vision for this part of the city. The anticipated project will bring in 4,100 new residents in this area, create 226 permanent jobs, estimated 2,562 temporary construction employees doing the building out of this project. And just think, just a few feet away from here is the 1.8 million square feet of lab and office space before the Maryland Biopark. Imagine what this area is going to look like in a few years. A plan was approved for new construction of 1,663 new homes and apartments in this area connected to this project and the biotech park, up to 150,000 square feet of new retail space. And I tell folks this is because, see, it's important that as we build communities, that we understand that every community wants the same amenities. You want to be able to walk to a grocery store. You want to be able to walk to a cleaner's. We want to be able to sit down at sit-down restaurants in our neighborhoods. And that's why I always throw in Mondawmin Mall when I have a conversation around that, because in Mondawmin Mall, folks said, you know, we can offer you another fast food restaurant. And the neighbors in Mondawmin said, no, we've had enough. We want a sit-down restaurant. And they held out, and they held out, and they held out until they finally got one. I know that we can make this city better. I know that the more we think about great ideas and the more we become inclusive and diverse, we can create the great city that Baltimore can be, was, and will be. But it's because of the hope that you all have. It's because of the desires and the dreams that you have, not just for yourselves, but for generations that we will see coming forth. I'm excited about this project. I hope that you all are as excited as I am. When I think about Poe Park, a paved public plaza directly in front of the historic Poe House, and a dog park, can you imagine that? That folks will be excited about coming to. This is what we call collaboration. And as I said to my department heads, it doesn't get better until we work together. We can solve crime in our city, but that means that there has to be a collaboration between the police department and the health department and drug addiction and all of those things. We can create great neighborhoods, but that means that we got to work with the institutions that are around us. It also means that we have to make attractive the opportunities to create a great Baltimore. Again, I'm so excited about this project, and I'm so excited about this family, and I'm so excited about the dreams that they have and will have more. And as we look forward to Baltimore being the greatest city in America, we thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Next up to speak is Council President.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, you know, the mayor saw my notes over there and she took everything from me, so I don't have much to say. Well, anyway, I'm so happy to be here this morning. It's been a long time getting to this point. I personally want to thank my Chief of Staff, Carolyn Blakeney, who's been working real hard with Dan to make sure that we cross all the T's and dot all the I's and get this project where it is today. I also like to thank Councilman Pete Welch and Agnes Welch. Project started under them, and the new councilman, John Bullock, who came over and said, I support this project, and I'm going to make sure that we get it done as well. But you know, this wasn't easy by a long stretch. It wasn't easy. But I was ready to throw my hands up, and I'm not a dream killer, but I was ready to throw my hands up. Carolyn said, no, you can't do that. And then I thought about Dan, how much he put into this project, how much he have just wrapped his whole life around this project. And I said, well, I can't be a dream killer, so I'm going to continue to support this project. And Dan, I had told him, don't come one more time and tell me you don't have this, you don't have that. Remember, Dan? You know, because I was getting real frustrated. But, you know, this neighborhood, this Poppleton community, of all these great leaders over here, they really wanted to see something done. You know, people talk about we just focus on downtown, but they don't take the time to look and see what we have done throughout the city of Baltimore. Not just downtown. This is a project, EBDI over in East Baltimore, the Telesis project on Greenmount, and I can go on and on and on, where people say we're not investing in our neighborhoods. But can we do more? Yeah, we can do more, and we want to do more. The mayor said her commitment was to spur development in those areas that haven't seen development in years, and that's my desire and my commitment as well, that we're going to make sure that all of Baltimore benefit, so we won't hear people saying there's two Baltimore. My vision have always been one Baltimore. When I go out of town and someone asks me where I'm from, I don't say I'm from East, West, North, or South. I say I'm from Baltimore. So we have to make sure that the vision is one Baltimore. I believe in it, the mayor believes in it, and we want to continue to get developments like this all over the city where we can get permanent jobs, construction jobs, and have people living in a safe and viable community, good schools, good grocery stores, all the amenities that people want in their communities. We want to make sure that that happens. So again, to his mom, his dad, I guess that's your wife over there, right? I mean, sister? Okay. I heard the baby counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't know. Well, she was giving him a clue to cut his speech short. I don't know. But anyway, I want to thank him, thank his family for standing behind him and, making sure that he stay on point. And I have to make sure that I thank housing and everybody that was involved in this project. I know this was a tough one, but guess what? We're here today to see the fruits of his labor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up to speak is Acting Commissioner Michael Braverman.
Good morning, everybody. I think the mayor and Dan and everybody went a long way to thank everybody who's been involved in this. That's like 3 pages of what I wanted to talk about this morning because there's a lot of people to thank. But let me do it this way. Everybody who's on the mayor's team on the city side, just raise your hand so we can see how many people worked on this project. Come on, Peter, raise it. Look at, there's a lot of people here who worked on this. Oh, yeah. So the point is, I think the larger point is, we all have to work together to get things done. And in the city, as well as with Dan and his team at La Cité, real leadership is bringing everybody together, bringing that team together and collaborating in a way that gets something done, something meaningful, something lasting, something beautiful. That's what we have here. That kind of consensus, bringing people together, that isn't easy. And I would say here, it took a lot of perseverance. Staying on this rodeo pony for all these years has led us to this really great place. And so we have to acknowledge the incredible perseverance of this community and the community groups and La Cité to get where we are here today, and acknowledge that that's what's going to be needed. We're going to have to keep working together to get to the next phase and the next phase and the next phase, because there are several phases to this project. But that's what we do every day in Baltimore City government. We bring the teams together and we push forward until we can see some real change. I'm going to skip a lot of the thank yous, but I gotta just say that it's worth noting repeating that with the proximity to the University of Maryland Biopark, the Poppleton neighborhood, this development, has a real solid foundation on which to build and which to move forward. This is just one of the many projects changing the face of West Baltimore. And Mayor, if you remember, just last week we're at Enterprise's Mulberry at Park Apartments, which offers both market rate and affordable housing opportunities, like here. Now, while Mulberry is inside MLK, between Mulberry Park and Center West, that represents 2 more links in the chain that will extend from downtown all the way to the city line. So it takes all kinds of housing to make a neighborhood. The phase we're starting here today is just the first step. It's been a long time in coming. I was not 18 back then, Madam Mayor. I may look it, but I was not. I was around. It's been a very important. It's just an important moment. Just this moment to stop and celebrate and say, let's put down the marker. Let's thank all those Poppleton residents who have stayed and who have kept on fighting for their community, and to celebrate this first of many, many victories to come. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you. And now for a partner that's been with us for quite some years and has actually been one of the partners that we can really say Key Bank has been an integral pair of this team. John Moose.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I can be very brief. I have to say that Baltimore is a great city. It's a great project. And Dan and the La Cité team were just fabulous to work with. What we had was an opportunity to help you out in a humble and I think a direct way, and that just gives us a chance to participate in something that's, I think, very historic. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and we're very happy to be here with you.
Thanks, John. I'd like to also introduce Councilman Bullock. to give a few words.
Well, good afternoon. I'm also going to be fairly brief, given that our mayor has covered a lot of the ground. I will say that I really appreciate her as a person, also being a mentor to me over the years, and so I look forward to serving the city along with you. And the council president also has said a lot and has also done a lot for people like myself. And so I look at him as also as a mentor. He's entrusted me with being the chair of the Housing and Urban Affairs Committee. And so we have a lot to do in our city. We have a lot to do here in the 9th District. It's so good to see so many community representatives here. I like to just say past, present, and future. Now, in the past, I look at those who have helped push the ball along the way, and I appreciate their leadership and their support. But also the past had to do with concentrated poverty, had to do with dilapidated housing, had to do with lack of investment. But in the present, we are on some fertile ground. There's an opportunity to plant some seeds here that are going to bear fruit in the future, looking at not just concentrated poverty, but mixed income housing, market rate and affordable housing, but also that this is a step toward the future. And what does the future hold? The future holds a bright path forward. It looks like mixed income neighborhoods. It looks like having the anchor institutions like the University of Maryland, the Biopark that are in close proximity. It means having shops and restaurants. It means hopefully having local hiring as well, because we want to make sure that folks in these neighborhoods are able to take advantage of the benefits that are moving forward. I also like to see this connection between the public sector and the private sector and our lenders. People have stepped up to the plate to make sure there's a brighter future for my children, your children, grandchildren, nieces, and nephews. So I just thank you for everyone who has put their hands to the plow on this project. This is only the first phase. We have 2 more phases to go, right? So let's even 3 more phases? Oh, wow. So we're going even further. So I am just excited about what the future holds. I'm happy to be a part of it. I look forward to being a partner, and just thank you so much for your work, your support, and what the future holds. God bless you all.
Thank you. And now, for the CEO of La Cité, Dan Bythewood Sr.
Well, thank you, Ian, and thank you, Madam Mayor, for attending this occasion with us. And would like to give thanks to everyone who's here today to support this wonderful, wonderful event. This is a historic moment for us at La Cité and BRP, and we're happy to see all the supportive faces, and we're happy to see that God blessed us with a wonderful day. And while I was sitting in the back, I heard a lot of speeches and wonderful things, and the mayor talked about dreams, the councilman talked about dreams, and I'm just going to give you a little quote, which is a neighborhood quote. It is happiness to wonder, and it is happiness to dream. And that's a quote from Edgar Allan Poe, whose home is right across the way. And for La Cité, it is happiness for us to dream and give you the reality of our dreams, Center West. And that will conclude our speaking portion of the program, and we'd like to actually have all of you that are going to join us with the shovels and the groundbreaking to come across the street with us to start that event.
Okay, scoop up a little bit of dirt, please. Now what you're going to do is you're going to throw it at me, okay? Big smiles, you're going to throw it at me. Okay, here we go. Ready? Everyone. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Excellent.